service. As we observe Memorial Day, we do more than just carry on a tradition dating back to 1866. We also fulfill a commitment. Throughout history, those who serve and defend, those who have faced the greatest dangers and won the greatest battles, and those who have given their all for their country, receive the highest honors. Today we honor our fallen, but we also embrace a feeling of honor, patriotism, and pride. Comrade Chaplain, would you do the opening prayer, please?
With a somber heart, we come here before this Memorial Day. We pause for a moment and call to mind all the men and women who have died in the service of our nation since 1776. Dear God, please look with mercy on our brave and selfless brothers and sisters who did not shrink from their task, but gave themselves completely to the cause of defending and protecting us all. Bless all who gave their lives for the sake of liberty and grant them eternal rest with you.
At this time, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Please welcome American Legion Post 129 Commander Rick Teachout.
Good afternoon, everybody. Last year I stood up here and read the names of the World War I soldiers who gave their life. These men were from the Portland area. Today I want to read the names of the World War II veterans that gave their lives so we could all be here today, enjoy the freedoms we have in this great country. Arthur Newman. Werner Pohl. Joseph Pohl. Clay Bullis. Theodore Schaefer. Joseph Zimmerman. Claude Plant Jr. Sidney Ball. Harvey Walker. Robert Brock. Max Smith. Maurice Story. Andrew Clark Jr.
This year, 2018, we recognize the 100-year anniversary of the end of World War I. With us today is one of Portland's heroes, whose name is dedicated to the American Legion Post 129 Charter. Please welcome our guest of honor.
Welcome. My name is Dale Hyland. You might recognize it from the American Legion Post here in Portland, and you might have wondered why the post was given that name. I'm here to tell you the story. Between the years 1914 and 1918, Europe was embroiled in a bloody conflict between Germany, under the rule of Kaiser Wilhelm, and its allies, the Axis powers, and Great Britain and France and their allies, the Allied powers. President Woodrow Wilson declared us a neutral nation, but with the sinking of the transport ship, the Lusitania, he realized this was no longer possible and asked Congress to declare war on the Axis powers in April of 1917. Hundreds of thousands of young men like myself were volunteered or were drafted. I went to Lansing and enlisted in May of 1917. I was 21 years old. My friend, Frank Guilford, and I were sent to Camp Sheridan near Chicago for training. And in September of 1917, I find myself in France as a part of Company F of the 2nd Engineers. I don't know what you've read in all the war books, like All Quiet on the Western Front, but this was trench warfare, with troops dug in on each side. It was also the war where airplanes were first being used, and bigger, more powerful guns were invented and used. It was a bloody and brutal, as all wars are. I was concerned that I wouldn't make it back home to my parents, Charles and Lavinia Hyland, and my brothers and sisters. I expressed my fears in my letters that I wrote back from home to my friend Daisy Higgins. One time I wrote, "It doesn't seem possible that it is a year and 6 days since I bade you all goodbye, does it? I'll soon have the second service strike, but I hope I don't get any of the round ones." Daisy wrote that I would soon be returning home, and I wrote, "I hope you are right about my coming home. I am anxious to resume my trade. I suppose when I enlisted that I would have electrical work to do. Apparently, there is any to be done." I told her in a letter that I wrote on May 25th. I possibly won't even know my own parents when I return. If. Our company was engaged in battle on June 7th, 1918, when I received 2 wounds from exploding shrapnel. I was hit in the foot and the neck, and died 2 days later. I was 22 years old. I was buried in France, and my folks held a memorial service for me at the Baptist church. My body was returned home to Portland in 1921 to be buried here in the Portland Cemetery. I was the first Portland boy killed in the war, but sadly, I wasn't the last. Many of us were killed, but others died of influenza and pneumonia. wrote this poem in France to express my feelings. Somewhere in France is that brave young lad who marched away so proud and glad. Somewhere in France, we know not where, we only know he's over there. Somewhere in France he fought and fell, and know he meant his duty well. He heard and answered his country's call, for us he gave his life, his all. Somewhere in France, under the showers, we'll mark his spot with fragrant flowers. Our hearts are touched with deep sadness today, when we think of that lad as he marches away. Somewhere in France, let us not forget, many brave boys are fighting yet, for freedom, for truth, and for right, without Star-Spangled Banner ever in sight. Somewhere in France, a message will send, a message of cheer as from friend to friend, a message of comfort, of love, of prayer, to the brave, noble lads who have gone over there. Thank you for the invitation to come here today.
From the Department of Michigan, please welcome our Junior Vice Commander, Mr. Mike Fennis.
Can you hear me out there? First of all, give yourselves a round of applause for being here today where you can be someplace else. I want to thank you all for being here, for paying tribute to the heroes of this great nation. Go back to where you live and your sons and daughters and grandchildren and tell them that you belong to a country where the men and women of this country will stand and rise for freedom, give their lives for freedom, go across the great oceans to free other people. There is no other nation on the face of the earth that does this. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of your nation and be proud of your warriors. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you.
Comrade Chaplain, would you do the closing prayer?
Brothers and sisters, we should be thankful for these inspiring thoughts. Let us learn the lesson of our hour, which is that we too are nearing the end of life's pilgrimage, and sooner or later, these services may be held in our memory. Let us so live that when our summons comes, we may depart with the testimony of good conscience in the comfort of reasonable religion, with perfect charity for all mankind, and a holy hope in the favor of God. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for attending today's service. I encourage all of you to take the time to remind others what this holiday really is about. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless America. This concludes our program. Thank you again.